Welcome into another edition of Target Score Winnipeg. I'm Joey Slattery. Beside me is Taylor Allen. Another big week here in Sea Bears land, going 1-1 since the last time we were on the show, winning one at home and losing a tough one on the road. We'll get into that and much more. Also coming up on the show, an exclusive interview with fan favorite Nathan Bilamu, who has been, since he joined the team last year, won the hearts of Winnipeggers. He's back this year and he's off to a great start. Going to learn a lot more about his journey. You can follow us on Instagram at Target Score Pod. That's where we have all the content from all of our podcasts across the network, including Target Score Brampton and Target Score Vancouver. In fact, this week, they are having the first ever crossover episode because Vancouver is in Brampton this weekend. You're not going to want to miss that one, but we have a ton to get to here. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Joey Slattery TV. Taylor is at Taylor Allen 31. Speaking of Taylor Allen, Taylor, how are you today, my friend?
I mean, I'm doing well, Joey, but I'd be doing even better if we got invited to the crossover party. I mean, you would think like we were the first Target Score podcast, so you think we would get that invite, but apparently not. So
I guess we're like the ugly ducklings of the Target Score family, I guess. But yeah, we wanted to do it. Here's the thing. We did want to do it, but it was like a weird time because they were going to Brampton on a Monday. And as you probably know by now, we usually record on Mondays or Tuesdays, and the episodes release on Wednesday. This week came out on a Thursday because of some complications, but we're back on track. But yeah, we will have our crossover episode coming up real soon because, we got to rip those guys. We are the OGs, Taylor. We've been doing this. If you look at the cover art for the Target Score shows, the Brampton one and the Vancouver one have one basketball, which means one season. We've got 4. We are veterans. They got to have respect for the veterans. So we would command that. And I know that these guys are going head to head in this podcast. So it's going to be good listening and good viewing for sure. Let's get into it though, Tay. Let's start with the game at home against Niagara, which was a great all-around game, for the Winnipeg Sea Bears, particularly from Teddy Allen, cousin Teddy, who had 25 points, a 6-steal game again, just resetting the franchise record he already had that he set just a few games earlier, tying it at 6. Complete game for him. Armani Chaney was lights out from beyond the arc, man. I mean, what a game between those two. And I got to get this one out of the way because I know there's super fan owner David Asper was, very happy with this, and we were going to talk about it, but I have to make sure I don't forget about it because there was the one play, and it's on Instagram if you go see it on the CBL page, where Teddy Allen, we keep talking about the facilitation of Teddy Allen. He probably had one of the nicer setups with one of the nicer finishes from, Armani Chaney, passing up what is, let's be honest, always a good shot for Teddy Allen, even when it doesn't look like it, for a great shot over at Armani Chaney. He slips it over to the weak side 45, gets him in set. He puts up a long range 3. And that guy's range that day was, that hoop was an ocean and that basketball was his rock. Everything was going in. But I understand they didn't have Khalil Ahmad and they weren't at their best. It was only their second game for the Niagara River Lions, but you took care of business. You beat the 2-time defending champions. They still had guys like Elijah Lufile there, and Kaio was there as well. Like, they've had some big names, but they took care of business. And, Niagara River Lions still have not won a game at Canada Life Center in 4 years. But I was very impressed with that output.
Well, they won the 2 games at the Canada Life Center that truly mattered, which was last year in the CBL championship weekend.
Not against,
but you're right.
Beavers, yeah.
Exactly. Not against the Sea Bears, though. So there you go. But no, I mean, like you said, Khalil Ahmad isn't with the team yet and stuff. So obviously they weren't at their best. But with that said, Joey, would it be outrageous to say that might have been one of the most impressive Sea Bears regular season performances in franchise history, or am I kind of jumping the gun and overreacting a little bit here?
No, I think it's fair, at least in recent memory, right? It was a tough season last year at home, and this year we got that full-fledged, what we were expecting. It was Mike Rainbow basketball. They were scrappy. They were, going after the possessions. They were physical. They were, heavy on the boards. Like, they made life tough. They were attacking from everywhere. They had all these points in transition because they were forcing turnovers. The second chance points, they dominated points in the paint. Like, it was a complete game. And I don't think you're out of line saying that it was at least one of the better performances we've seen, at least in a very long time. And to me was kind of the tone setter of just like, okay, this is now, we're 3 games in at the time, or was it 4 games in at the time? And now you're getting a feel, okay, like this is Sea Bears basketball. Like we're still waiting on Isaiah Osborne, still waiting on Xavier Moon, who is playing Game 7 in his semifinal round on Thursday. I think 11 a.m. is that time. So when you're watching this, it might very well be over. And he will be back as soon as his playoff run is over. If he moves on to the championship, it'll be a little while longer. If they lose that game, he'll be here a little bit sooner. But this team is gelling pretty well. And we'll get to the Brampton loss in a second. I don't think it takes away from my point here, but we're seeing this team. There's still some, we'll say, gaping holes, like, areas they clearly have to get better at, or at least more consistent. But overall, this team seems a lot more cohesive than last year. Teddy has had his 30-point game. He had a 25-point game in Winnipeg against Niagara. But he's doing a lot more, and it's still that team game. Like Teddy is still getting his, but it's not dependent on Teddy like it really was in year 1. I think that's like the biggest difference I've noticed so far of this new Teddy Allen run. He's still incredibly important. The offense runs through him, but everybody's kind of eating, if that makes sense. And we're seeing guys get better. Like the first episode, we were talking about Armani Chaney not, being a little disappointing in his opening round. He's been great since then, coming off the bench. His range is now, he's figured out the rims and he's getting real comfortable at home. It looks like a dangerous team at home. Again, road not as kind, but not blowouts either. Right. So I think the team is in a really good spot. I don't know if Mike Rainbow would feel the same way. Mike Rainbow is a very detail oriented guy, loves practice. And I think he would love to have a few more practices under his belt, as the season goes on. But I think what they've been able to accomplish with this team, with a lot of new faces, bringing back some familiar faces that hadn't been here in a while, it was pretty promising. And I think that Niagara game is kind of the gem so far of the early season.
Well, whatever the record is, we're 5 games in. Doesn't really matter where you sit after 5 games. But I will say this, Joey, that I think there's already signs that this team is just built better and just playing better than they were last year. Even the numbers kind of back it up. They're averaging 10 more points per game.
Yep.
And they're shooting the ball better. I think they're shooting 7 or 8% better than they were last year. And yes, I know there's different players on this team and Teddy and whatever, but Joey, I think this is the Mike Rainbow effect. He's got these guys playing really hard on defensively. I really like the pressure that they've been bringing. Every game they've played so far. And again, just offensively, like you said, I think when they did sign Teddy, people are kind of like, okay, like, is it just going to be the Teddy show again? But really, it really hasn't been. Like, other guys are getting involved. Every game, there's been different guys stepping up. Armani Chaney was the guy in that Niagara game. And yeah, I think Mike Rainbow is a big reason why they're at where they're at right now. And I think to be 3-2, again, mentioned this last week, but to have a winning record before arguably your best player, Xavier Moon, even gets here, you got to be happy with that. So, yeah, they would be a lot happier if they won that last one in Brampton and were 4-1. But at the end of the day, though, I think encouraging signs so far. But of course, there's still lots of room for improvement as well.
Well, I'll say this. I talked to Teddy Allen the morning after they beat Niagara. They had their run through before they took off for the game in Brampton. And he had said something. I didn't use it in my game day report, but it was a valuable piece of information. But he's talking about the success of the team and the team cohesion. And he said, we're trying our best to play Mike Rainbow basketball, which is edgy and it's scrappy. And it's a fight. And I asked him, like, do you like that style of play? And he said, I like any style of play where I win. And it seems that he's bought into it, and he's got a trust with Mike Rainbow. Rainbow clearly has a trust with Teddy Allen. And we'll get into the Brampton game. I think it's a good segue, actually, because the Brampton game did not go as planned. And we saw some of those things, come back to bite them that have been problems, from the get-go. The big one being the turnovers. They had 18 turnovers that game. When it came to rebounding, 34 rebounds for Brampton to Winnipeg's 29. And again, in target score time, Brampton getting to those offensive rebounds in a very close game. So that game was a 96-92 loss for the Sea Bears. The Sea Bears beat Niagara 97-71, but they lose a 4-point game in Brampton. This is only a few days removed from losing a 2-point game where they had a 10-point lead against Scarborough, right? So going on the road has not been great. But here's the thing. Scarborough and Brampton are the 2 undefeated teams left in the CBL as of this recording. right? So it's not like they're going in and getting pumped by these teams. And the other thing I really like about this is they were going shot for shot with Brampton. I mean, Brampton's got a stellar team, man. Like, they had Sean East, Moncrief is another guy that's been playing, lights out. Cameron Tyson, Prince Odro, who's a CBL vet, but like they've got weapons, and they were going off. They were creating turnovers. Sean East is a menace. He's fast. And he could put the ball in the net. How many did he have that game? He had 23 points, 7 assists, right? It was a Sean East game, but they kept it close, and they really could have won that game, right? Like it was a dogfight. Both of the teams put everything on the floor. But I will say, it's the first time we kind of saw Teddy getting a little bothered, right? We got picked up the technical after not getting a foul, which I thought was a foul at the time. Faked a shot, the guy goes up, and then he goes in. He didn't lean into the guy jumping, but, there was contact there and no call. So I understand the frustration, but he kind of bounces the ball. Ref is not going to take it, gives him a tee. Cooler heads prevail. And then he takes a hard foul, which, it was a hard foul. And it was target time, winning basket type stuff. And he's just trying to make a defensive play to make sure by any means necessary that ball doesn't go in. I think that is a byproduct of that scrappy play, right? We're going to do whatever it takes to win. And I'm just playing as hard as possible. He went to help the guy up. It created a bit of a melee between Alex Serta, head coach of the Brampton Honey Badgers, and Mike Rainbow, head coach of the Winnipeg Sea Bears. But it's one of those things that I'm wondering now, is this going to be a moment that brings that team together, right? We lost the close one, but we fought. I thought there was a lot of positives in that loss. Someone had to lose that game. Brampton's on a heater right now, and you still don't have two very important players, including Xavier Moon, as we keep talking about every episode. He will be here soon, but I thought, yes, it's a loss, but it's against a really good team that's doing really big things. And Emmanuel Acott had a line, something along those lines, right? Like, this is a team that if we want to win a championship, we're going to have to beat them at some point. We learned a lot this game, and I think that is a big difference. Yeah, it's early in the season, but you're still above 500. It's only 2 losses, and they were 2 really important losses that you were in the game, and there's minor things to fix from that. And some big things, like if you get those rebounds and you protect the ball, it's a different ball game, man.
I love that quote from E-Man. Like, I like that he's like already thinking about championship, this early in the season. And, you got to love the confidence in that these guys are like, yeah, we're here to win a championship. Right. And yeah. And so far, Brampton, they kind of are the standard right now, which is pretty crazy considering how awful they were last year.
Totally.
But I mean, you look at them now. I mean, they have the best defense in the league. They're allowing the least points per game. They're forcing the most
they have the most offensive rebounds.
turnovers.
So even they're the best offensive rebounding team in the league on average. So yeah, like they're a powerhouse, man. Like there's no way around it. They are a powerhouse in this league.
Yeah, most steals out of any team in the league right now. So yeah, they are definitely a powerhouse. And for the Sea Bears to not play their best game and to turn the ball over as much as they did, and to still only lose by 4 and on the road as well. I mean, no, that's not a win. You can't be happy with that. But I mean, that's just, again, that's encouraging signs. Because again, CBL, I know it's only a 24-game season, but the summer really is a marathon, because these teams change so much and whatever. And you just want your team at the beginning of the year just to be showing signs of a team that has the potential to figure it out at the end, once they do add that missing piece or two, whether it's midway through the year, late in the year, whenever it may be. And I'm not trying to, hype the team too much, because again, there's still some things that, they haven't been fantastic at. But right now, though, they're just showing some signs that they were not showing at any point really last year.
Totally. And like, let's be honest, they don't have their full team, but neither does anybody else, even Brampton. Brampton, as far as we know, Jameer Nelson Jr. is still coming, so Jameer Nelson Jr. joins. That's probably the most lethal backcourt in the league, and Xavier Moon and Teddy Allen will have to prove if they are, right. So 100%, these games, like I've said it before, they're not steals, but they're important, right? If you're winning these games, it's just going to relieve a little bit of pressure later on if you do find yourself, because you're going to lose a string of games at some point, right? But these games here, you don't want to lose these ones when you're up against understaffed teams or teams without a ton of experience playing. You have to take advantage of those, and they have. The only game between now and our next recording is the one against Saskatoon in Saskatoon. That is the second game of their season-long 4-game road trip. They made quick work of Saskatoon at home. Saskatoon's been struggling. Interesting note, both Calgary and Saskatoon, who are under the same ownership, are 0-7 at the time of this recording. No wins for Saskatoon yet, no wins for Calgary, which I'm a little surprised by. Calgary is usually a safe bet team. But things are not going well in Saskatoon right now. It's been a slow start. I'm curious to see what the urgency is going to be like. I like Isaiah Fox as a coach, and I thought, a guy that's been patient. But now, it's been 3 or 4 games, no wins. You have Winnipeg coming to town. The Tracksuit Brothers are going to be there, right? So there's going to be some loud Winnipeg representation in Saskatoon. But this is a game for the Sea Bears too that you can't overlook. And I think part of it is like there's going to be a little bit more vigor there. I would at least hope after losing that first game that they can't look at this as a gimme. They got to go into Saskatoon as full or as unfull as SaskTel Center is going to be. They just got to go in there and play, and don't play with their food, man. Chew, eat, swallow, move on to the next one.
Well, Saskatoon's going to get that win eventually, but you just don't want it to be against you. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, 3-2 right now. I mean, they've looked pretty good, but if you go into Saskatoon and you lose to those guys, a winless team, I mean, that'll definitely let some air out of the balloon for sure surrounding the Winnipeg Sea Bears. But yeah, what do you kind of just make of the Sea Bears, just quickly? What do you kind of make of the Sea Bears right now at the point guard position? It kind of feels like every game you never really know what they're going to get at point guard. I mean, Armani Chaney, he had the big game against Niagara, but Trey McGowan's as well. I mean, both those guys, it's been kind of up and down.
Well, I'd say Trey McGowan's a guy who didn't come in with any training camp under his belt, was thrown into the fire, kind of like Nate Bilamu is, and that interview's coming up in just a couple minutes here. But I actually think they're pretty solid at that position. Like the depth that you have, like your third guy is Mason Krause, who hit a game winner in game 1 and is getting meaningful minutes and playing great defense. Like, he had a couple of plays in that Brampton game where he's knocking the ball loose, like giving the team an opportunity to capitalize on turnovers and put points up on the board the other way. Trey McGowan's is a really good basketball player, man. I like that guy's style. He's, he plays almost bigger than he looks. Like he's a strong guy. He's physical. Like he could take it to the rim. He could take a beating on the way in. He can set people up, inside, outside. He's a great defender. I think he had 9 assists in the last game. I think he's a solid number 1, like as solid as you're going to get in this league. And then your guys coming in are Armani Chaney. If he can continue, I know he's not going to be 4 for 5 from 3 every game, but if you can keep up that pace, right, where you're a dependable shooter and you're hitting the shots when needed, that makes for a dangerous team. I actually think the depth and the skill level of that depth for Winnipeg is a strength.
That's fair. but I don't know. There's just been, I guess you're right. I mean,
that was an
Trey
easy
McGowan, he has.
You're like, I'm sold. I'm getting all their jerseys.
Well, yeah, no, not quite. But I mean, yeah, Trey McGowan's has been an assist machine, for sure. I mean, you just would like to see them, those guys maybe take a little bit better care of the basketball at times and maybe shoot the ball a little more effectively, consistently. But yeah, I think you raised some valid points there, Joey Slattery, that they are in a pretty good spot there, and they're not dying for Xavier Moon to get here tomorrow.
But that's the other thing.
Obviously, they would happily take him. But
like that's the other thing, though. Xavier Moon, like that, like when he gets in, like
what's going to happen?
Well,
someone's got to.
Well, I think it actually, like, I would imagine it makes you more versatile because Trey McGowan's, I don't think, needs to be your 1, right? Like you can put him over as a shooting guard if need be. He looks like he could hang with all of them. Like I don't think he's like a 1 through 5 guy like Emmanuel Acott has been from time to time, but I think it just gives you more looks for Mike Rainbow depending on what the situation ahead of you is, right? Because as great as Xavier Moon is, if you need a little bit more size and a little more physicality, maybe you're going to take Moon out and put McGowan's in that for some more minutes to eat up some of that physical time and wear those guys down. So I think it's a really good situation. I mean, hey, it's no Tavian Dunn-Martin, just joking. Because they're playing
nobody
Saskatoon,
is,
and we love Tavian Dunn-Martin here on Target Score podcast. But no, it's I think their point guard situation is solid right now, and assuming it only continues to get stronger, and like even going back, not to draw the comparison to Tavian Dunn-Martin, but that the shooting we saw from Armani Chaney in that home game was Dunmartin-esque, right? Like he was just popping up from well beyond the arc and everything was going in. And like that's when you're that size, like you need to have that range. And if that confidence is coming in from that range, it's just going to open up everything else because now you're a threat. Guys have to guard you a lot further away from the 3-point line when you prove you're a threat. And that just opens up a lot of things, which has got to be a dream for a point guard like Armani Chaney.
Well, speaking of solid, Joey, I mean, Nate Bilamu, that guy's the definition of solid. And what isn't solid, though, is the fact that it's taken us this long to get him on the show. And it wasn't his fault. It was on you and I. Obviously, last year just kind of just zipped by, and before you knew it, the season was over, and we never had him on. He was arguably the best story of last season, at least in my opinion. I mean, here's a guy who was just invited to training camp, Joey. Wasn't given a contract, wasn't guaranteed a damn thing. And yet he worked his ass off, made the team. And then after he made the team, say, okay, well, he'll be an end of the bench guy, whatever. So much for that. Slowly but surely, he grabs a role, just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Emmanuel Acott leaves the team for a bit. Then Nate Bilamu steps in as a starter for a few games, and he was awesome. So a huge win for the Seabirds to get him back under contract this year, and it's just a huge win for them to get him back from Portugal the other week, and now have him on this roster as well, because he's a guy that can do a little bit of everything. And you can never have too many talented Canadian guys like him that can play good defense, rebound, and knock down open shots. So, yeah, great to see Nathan back. And obviously, people in Winnipeg really, really enjoy his style of play and just what he brings to the court. So, yeah, it's been awesome. It was awesome to have him on the show, Joey, because I think both of us had some questions that we've been itching to ask him for a while.
And I know everybody's itching to get to it, so let's not waste any more time. Here's our interview with Seabears guard Nate Bilamu. Here with Seabears guard Nate Bilamu. Nate, thank you so much for making the time for us here today on Target Score Winnipeg.
No, for sure. For sure. I appreciate you having me, Joey and Taylor. It's good to be on.
Well, we appreciate having you. I mean, I just want to start off by asking about like where you are right now. You look at when you came to this team last year as a walk-on and what you've been able to cultivate out of this opportunity. I mean, when you came in last year as that walk-on, could you have ever visualized the role that you have now and what you built even last year?
To be honest, no. I always had a belief that I can, move myself up the roster and create some opportunities for myself. But to get this far, I guess you can say I didn't really imagine that. I know that sometimes you put in the work and you can get a little lucky, and I think that's what happened for me. Just timing and opportunity, and then just falling back on my hard work.
Because for those that don't know, I mean, Nate, like you were promised nothing last year, right? You were just said they just told you like, "Hey, come out to training camp and we'll see what happens," kind of thing, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like I was just going in there, not really expecting much. It did help a lot to know Coach Thompson last year. That really helped me a lot. But other than that, it was just really just put my head down, work, and try to make something happen. And again, I think just the amount of work I put in and the luck just paid off.
Let's get into that, actually. I was going to save that for a little later in the interview, but I think now that you brought it up, it's a good time. Your relationship with Ryan Thompson, here's a guy that coached you at Lakehead. And I mean, for people that don't know, I think a lot of people from Winnipeg are familiar with where exactly Thunder Bay is, but it's a 16-hour drive from Toronto to Lakehead, which is 8 hours and change away from Winnipeg. How did you meet Ryan, and how did you end up at Lakehead? Let's start with like the beginning of the relationship. When did that come together?
Yeah, so my assistant coach at Lakehead was Coach Erdman, and his father actually taught me in high school at Cathedral High School in Hamilton, Ontario. So for the longest, we had that relationship with me and Coach Erd and his dad, and they've been recruiting me since high school, actually, Lakehead. So I met Thompson then, but I didn't really think Lakehead was the choice to make at that time in high school. So, but that connection was always there. So 2 years later, after playing at some colleges in Canada, I decided that Lakehead could be an opportunity for me to play some high level OUA basketball.
When you
Well,
look at,
maybe expand on that a
go
little.
ahead.
Sorry, Joey. Maybe
Go
just
ahead.
expand on that a little bit, Nathan. I mean, your story is just remarkable in so many ways. I mean, you and I had a good chat last year. I mean, you weren't a guy who was super heavily recruited out of high school, right? Like you had to kind of prove yourself a little bit at a lower bit of a lower level before going on to youth sports and making a name for yourself.
Yeah, Canada College in North Bay, Ontario, like it's I don't know, it's weird. Like I don't like it. Just coming from that to where I am now, it's a blessing. And obviously, Canada College isn't the typical destination that you would want to start off from, But I just kind of dealt with what I was given and then worked my way up. But yeah, you're right though. It's been a hell of a story so far.
Canada College. I worked in North Bay for a while, so I know exactly where you were.
Yeah.
And I went to school at Laurentian, so just down the road from North Bay. But you look at that path, right? Because I imagine being from Hamilton and being from Ontario myself, a lot of times it's like people from the Toronto area, southwestern Ontario, think Barrie is as north as Ontario goes. So you look at your path, you go to North Bay, which I imagine was probably a bit of a shock in terms of like how far away you were from home at the time, and then you go to Thunder Bay. I mean, how much did you think of that when those decisions came into play in terms of having to leave home at that young age right after high school and pursue this dream? And as you said at the time, like you probably wouldn't have visualized this being the outcome.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to how much I love the game of basketball and just playing. I didn't really care where it took me. I was just willing to go wherever the opportunity was, no matter it could have been, somewhere out west in Alberta, somewhere cold. It didn't matter for me. I just knew that if I had opportunity to go play basketball, I can make the most of it. So wherever it took me, I just went.
Did you have a welcome to the pros moment last year? I mean, obviously, we'll fast forward a little bit. You end up making the Sea Bears, obviously. Don't have the biggest role at the start, but by the end, you're one of the most important players on the team. But did you have a welcome to the pros moment at any point last summer?
I did, yeah. It was actually the MVP of the league, Khalil Ahmad. Guarding him was challenging for sure. I remember playing them at home, and at Niagara's home. There was a play where he rejected a screen, came down and dunked the ball. And I'm like, okay, this is the type of level of pro level guards that I have to guard this year in the CBL. So that was definitely one of the moments where I'm like, yeah, this is some next level of talent and athleticism over here, this league.
What about for like you in terms, was there a play for you where you're like, man, I can hang with these guys?
Yeah, I'll say after the Scarborough game or the Brampton game, when that was my game high, 11 points, something like that. And I realized I can do a little bit of everything on the floor, shoot the three, play defense, make all the little plays. And that can be my role moving forward. So once I realized that, I just took full advantage of that and realized that that's what's going to get me, on the floor. And that's what my value is on the Sea Bears.
Was there a sense
So
of
when
comfort?
you've
Sorry, I just want to follow up with like when you come into the Sea Bears, like, was there a sense of comfort just having Ryan there as an assistant, like someone that you know really well and that knows you really well, that kind of made it feel maybe not quite as big? Because I feel like at that stage of your life and career, it could be, I can't mess this up. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. But was it any way where it kind of like brought the opportunity down a little bit and made it more realistic?
100%. 100%. Thompson made a lot of things more comfortable. Like, first, the offense that we ran last year for the Sea Bears was the exact same offense that we ran at Lakehead. So that was huge for me just to adjust to that. Like, I already know all the plays. That's pretty easy. And then just waking up every day, getting to the gym, seeing Thompson, during shoot around, talking to him. It's just the same thing as Lakehead. So that definitely brought a level of security and just comfort. And then knowing that someone on the coaching staff has my back fully percent and he's fully aware of what I'm capable of. So that gave me confidence to show out when I had the opportunity.
So for those that don't know, I mean, after last summer, you ended up getting a contract to play overseas in Portugal. But when you finished at Lakehead, was there already some pro interest overseas for yourself, or was it really, what you did last summer in Winnipeg that really kind of put you on the radar for some teams over there?
Honestly, I was just figuring out my agent situation right after Lakehead, but there wasn't really much any offers. Just like you said, after my season in Winnipeg, that really helped me, you know, bridge my name out there. So that really helped me. That summer in Winnipeg really helped me as far as having pro looks overseas.
How challenging was it though last year? Because I know you've had some adversity to overcome, some pretty intense adversity, and I'll let you tell that if you want to. But just kind of going through the highs and lows of last year, I can't imagine it being an easy time to kind of stay even keeled and kind of keep your focus moving forward. How did you overcome some of the adversity you faced last year, and how were you able to turn it into maybe even a motivator, if that's the right word, to keep persevering and understanding that opportunity in front of you?
Yeah, it was a very difficult summer, at times last year. But I have a great family, and a support system that they take care of me, and they just love me. I just saw them in Brampton last night, and they've just always been there for me. And I always give credit to God. So I think God definitely gave me just the strength, maybe not to perform on the court, but just the strength to keep myself intact off the court. So when I'm on the court, it doesn't transfer over to on the court, and I could just handle what I'm doing and go out there and hoop. And I also wanted to obviously make my pops proud. And I know that he would not want me to dwell and, let's say, just kind of like sink in and vendor off. I know he'd like to see me use that to overcome and to, make the most of the opportunity given. And I feel like that's what I did, and I know he's looking down and he's proud.
Do you still wear that jacket? I remember last year you wore his
Yeah,
coat to the games. Is that your good luck charm?
it is. It's in my closet right now. I'm definitely gonna pull it out again, this summer for sure.
No, that's awesome. I mean, you quickly became a fan favorite last year, Nathan. I mean, Winnipeg, we're kind of a blue collar town, right? Like fans here, they like a gritty player, a guy who's not afraid to, do the dirty work, dive for loose balls, play hard on defense, knock down open shots and whatnot. And that was you to a T last year. So for you, I mean, a guy growing up in Hamilton, that, a city that maybe gets lumped in the same category as Winnipeg sometimes by some people. Some people, sometimes don't always say the nicest things about Winnipeg and Hamilton, which isn't cool because I like both cities. I've been to Hamilton many times, but for you, I mean, just did you kind of embrace that, playing in a town that obviously has some similarities to where you grew up?
Yeah, there's definitely some similarities. Again, blue collar town like Hamilton, and it's very gritty, just like Winnipeg. And that's what I grew up in for most of my childhood. So I was accustomed to that. I was accustomed to the people and the environment. I think we're very very similar in many ways. We kind of have to like work for everything we got. So I just try to. That's really who I am. So I just try to embody that as much as possible. And I think the city just realized that we're very similar in many ways, and I feel like that's what they valued and liked about me.
How was your first season overseas in Portugal? Like you're a few games into your CBL season now. What have you noticed in terms of what you were able to take away from your first full winter season of pro basketball, and the changes you've noticed now in your second year with the Sea Bears?
Definitely just experience, just experience overseas. That goes a long way. Overseas when I was, overseas, I played a lot of minutes, probably like 30 minutes per game. So that definitely just gives me a next level sense of experience, just being on the court for that many minutes every week, every game. I had a bigger role over there as far as scoring and doing more facilitating and defensive, you know, purposes. So that was really something that I could bring over here to Winnipeg. And I know my role is different over here, but just all that experience and those opportunities that were overseas, it's definitely helped me adjust over here as well. And as far as talent and athleticism, that's obviously more different and more better over here in the CBL. So that takes some adjusting to, but I think I'm well adjusted now.
At least when I think of Portugal, I think of soccer, obviously, right? Basketball is not the first sport that comes to mind when I think of Portugal. So just what is the basketball scene like out there?
I think it's a sleeper. I think it's a sleeper. I think they do really they like basketball out there a lot. Obviously, soccer is number one, and I don't see that changing for them for probably some decades. But my club, the fans were loud. It's kind of smaller community, but the fans were there every night, every game. The culture was there. It was all about basketball, and I loved it. I enjoyed it there. The weather was great. I loved it for my first year in Portugal.
When you were playing with the Sea Bears last year, we talked about Ryan Thompson being an assistant coach, but Mike Rainbow is also an assistant coach, and now he's the head coach. It's a new era here in Winnipeg. You came in a little bit later than everybody else, but now that you've had a chance to have at least a couple practices and a few games, what's the biggest difference you've noticed from a year ago with this team? I mean, the team's off to a good start. Vibes are pretty high. I know you're just coming off a loss in Brampton, but you was a 3-1 start before then. What's the biggest difference you've noticed from a year ago to this year, and what Mike Rainbow brings to the table?
I think he values defense a lot, and he values the gritty part of the game, and that's very important. Like it might not be able, the grittiness and the defense might not show right now early in the season, but when it comes to playoffs, and the ball is not going in, and you have to rely on hard work, on effort, on the little things. I think that's what he really values, and that's really predicated on the team. So I think that's the biggest difference from last year to this year.
I just want to follow up with that too, because was it an easy decision to come back to Winnipeg under a new coach in Mike Rainbow? Because Ryan Thompson ended up going to Ottawa there. Was there ever a chance you were going to go to Ottawa? Did you give that any thought? Was there any conversation there?
No, there's no conversation with Ottawa for sure. No, but Mike Rambo, like the fact that he's a defensive minded coach, and that's what I hang my hat on. I think just that connection right there, it was a no brainer, and I was very familiar with his style, with obviously Lex Campbell. He's a coach now, so just that familiarity with the city and everything, it was an easy choice to come back to Winnipeg.
So take us through just how hectic of a week it was when your season in Portugal ends, and then what was it? 4 days later, you're making your CEBL debut this summer.
Yeah, it was wild. No sleep. It was like a 16-hour travel day. A lot of layovers and stuff like that. But again, that's just what being a pro is about. But it was wild though. I didn't even know I was gonna play or not, but it was wild. But again, that's what being a pro is about, and I think I did decent for the circumstances that I was given. So for sure.
Are you adjusted to the jet lag yet? Like, was there any jet lag coming over from Portugal and then just like being shoved into the lineup in Winnipeg?
There's a lot of jet lag. Yeah, there's a lot of jet lag, but I'm adjusted now for sure. But that was a tough day, rough morning.
I can only imagine.
11 a.m. game too. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, no kidding, eh?
Yeah.
Well, first impression of playing with Teddy Allen.
He's a bucket. He knows how to put the ball in the hoop effortlessly, and he's a fun guy to be around off the court. So, I'm just looking forward to learning more about him. Maybe even learning some stuff from him. So yeah, that's my first impression so far.
What do you say, Tay? Ready for target time?
Let's do it.
Nate, you ready for target time?
Do it.
Target time, as a reminder, is the slowest sequence of rapid fire questioning you're ever going to experience. Nate, my first question for you, because we talked about it earlier in the interview, is you went to Lakehead University in Thunder Bay, Ontario, which is a beautiful city, a little bit isolated. I won't lie. It took me a while. I had a lot of friends. I grew up in Timmins, so a lot of Timmins people went to Lakehead. They talked about how much they love Thunder Bay. The first few times I went there, I was just like, I don't get it. But as I've gone there more, driving through, it is a beautiful town. All that to say, what was your favorite part about living in Thunder Bay or going to school in Thunder Bay?
I would say the fact that it is isolated. It's kind of isolated, out of the way. It's far from Toronto or all those southern Ontario cities. So you kind of have to get along with your whole team. Like, you guys are a family. You guys are all coming from whatever it is, Calgary, Winnipeg, Toronto, Nova Scotia. So like, you guys are all coming together in this small little town. So the fact that we have to hang and like rely on each other in this small city, I think that was the most fun part.
Well, staying in Ontario, what's the biggest difference between someone from Hamilton and Toronto? Like what's the tell? If you meet someone, like what's the tell where you're like, okay, yeah, like you're not from the Hammer. You must be from the big city, Toronto.
There's some similarities there too, but I'll say accent or like slang, because Toronto sometimes they talk with a certain like dialect and slang, and in Hamilton we don't really talk like that. Like, if you're really from Hamilton, you don't really talk like you're from Toronto. So that's the biggest difference that I would notice. But as far as like personality, it's kind of similar.
What's a Toronto slang or Toronto word that they use that you guys don't?
It's just like what you saying, fam? Like they just I don't know. It's just their dialect is just different. It's just different.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to a football game. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers are taking on the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Whose jersey are you wearing? Putting you on the spot here. This is the heavy question.
Yeah. I probably wear a half and half.
Okay.
Or a half and half jersey. Yeah.
Playing it real safe.
real safe. Yeah.
See, what I thought you would say is like, I'll wear the Bombers jersey, but underneath will be the Ticats jersey. So just that, like, if I'm walking into the stadium, I'm not going to get in any trouble with anybody, but deep down inside, I'm rooting for the Hammer, for the Tabbies.
Yeah.
Well, you could meet them in the middle, kind of, and wear a Mike O'Shea vintage Ticats jersey, coach of the Bombers, or wear a Zach Claris Ticats jersey, who's now the quarterback for the Bombers. So that's another option. So you got some wardrobe options for if that situation ever arises. So you'll be prepared. You got some options.
Think about that. Yeah.
There you go. But my next question, Nate. I mean, other than basketball, obviously, what's another kind of skill that you have, like or a hidden talent that you have that maybe might surprise people?
A hidden talent that I have is content creation. I like to just go out. Like, when I was in Portugal, I was just going out to like Porto, Lisbon, the big cities, and I would just record and like make cinematic type of videos. So that's one of my hidden talents.
Okay. Do you post those on your Instagram, or where can people find that?
I posted some clips on my Instagram, but right now it's just in the vault chilling. When that time comes up, I'll let them go.
That's all. I'm similar with that. I whenever I go on vacation, I get like all the video, and then like a year down the road, I'm like, all right, now I'm gonna put it together.
Yeah.
Okay, so what has been? I know it's only been like a year and a half essentially, but what has been your favorite part about being a professional basketball player that does not involve basketball?
You have a lot of free time, so then you can really use that time to learn a new skill, or in my case, go out and record some video, or whatever you like to do. You have a lot of time to do it, so I feel like that's a benefit for sure. Yeah.
My next question, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Have you had any run-ins with him, your fellow Hamilton baller? And any run-ins, any moments where you've even been in the same room as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
Yeah, he was in grade 9, I was in grade 7, and there was a 3v3 tournament outside in Hamilton at some park. And he was killing everybody, of course. But yeah, I was seeing him. I didn't play him or anything, but I was watching him. And I did not know he was going to become the Shai he is today, but that was my little run-in with him. past.
This
I don't
isn't
think
like
anyone knew that he
Yeah.
was going to become the Shea that he was going to become. Otherwise, the Clippers wouldn't have traded him all those years ago, which was the most
was there
boneheaded trade in probably sports history.
Was there any buzz at all though? Like in terms of like maybe not like, you know, 2-time MVP buzz, but like did you know at the time like were people in Hamilton kind of like, oh, this Shea guy, he's gonna go to the league and he's gonna have a good career? Or was it like kind of a surprise to you as well when you saw him break into the league, especially when he joined OKC?
No, I think it was just a surprise to everyone. Like the fact that he was killing everybody. He was taller, in grade 9, lanky kid, but no one really knew that he would become who he is today.
That's awesome. Okay, now what was the like outside of being a professional basketball player? You can pick which way you want. I'm going to phrase this question 2 ways, and you could answer it which way you want. What was the dream job for you outside of basketball? Or if it's easier to think of it this way, what would you be doing now if you didn't play basketball full time as a professional?
I think I'd go back to school and take psychology. Yeah, and I take school seriously at first, but I take psychology. Like,
Really?
I want to be a psychologist. Yeah.
What any reason for that? Is it like what drew the interest to psychology?
For some reason, I've always been interested in like the mind and how it works and why people do, you know, certain things. And I do read some books on psychotherapy and stuff like that. And I've always had interest in that type of stuff. So that would probably be something that I would venture onto.
Do you have any book recommendations?
Yes, I do. Man's Search for Meaning.
Man Search for Meaning?
Yeah.
Okay.
Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl.
Okay. Have you ever read the book? It's called How Champions Think. I got to Google. I can't remember. Bob Rotella. Did you ever read the book by Bob Rotella called How Champions Think? If not,
never read.
It's a good read. I'll give you another recommendation because it's in the realm of sports psych. But that was my favorite, like really the only like psychology book that I've ever really like read. And it's a really cool read in terms of just like how the mind works in terms of, you know, for some of the most successful people in the world, whether it be in sports or in business or whatever. But yeah, no, it's really, when you get into it, I can totally see where you're coming from because like it is very interesting when people can break it down like that.
Yeah, you said How Champions Think?
How Champions Think. And it's Bob Rotella. He's a very famous sports psychologist in the United States. Like he's worked with Rory McIlroy, like before Rory finished the Grand Slam and stuff like that. So he's gotten a little bit more like hype in the last little bit, but his book's been around for a while. He has another one too, but it's very golf related. He's like worked with golfers more than anybody, but it's a really good one.
Okay. All right, I'll tap into that.
Okay, book club's over. Tay, you could ask a question.
And Nathan, Joey is a champion, actually. He won our media curling bonspiel the other month. So really, he must have really did read that book then, because
congrats.
He was just phenomenal.
Changed my life.
There you go.
Yeah, changed my
there
life.
You go.
Little dust
There's
on
the
that.
hardware.
I shouldn't be taking better care of that. But yeah, Manitoba, where is it? Manitoba Association of Sportscasters, Sports Writers, bonspiel champion. Yeah, not a big deal at all. No big deal. But champions, no champions, right?
Congrats, Joey, man. That's huge.
Appreciate that, Nate. Thank you very much.
Well, this wasn't going to be my next question, but now it's going to be. Nathan, if there was one guy on the Sea Bears, either this year or even last year's team, that you think could make a good curler, who would it be and why?
Curler? What's... like
the curling.
Like playing curling.
Okay.
Slide the rocks. Like this guy.
Yeah. Very Manitoba question. Sorry.
You know what? I think Kyler would be a good curler.
That's fair. That's a great answer.
I think Kyler would be a good curler. Yeah.
I think if you took Filowich and put him in a curling rink and like didn't tell anybody that he was a pro basketball player, they'd be like, "That's a really tall curler."
Might get away with it. Yeah,
I could totally see it. I thought it'd be Armani Cheney because Armani's like smaller, so I feel like he can get in like the Manitoba tuck a little better and get like closer to the ice as he's letting it go. But that is something that the Sea Bears got to do for content. a day out curling with a bunch of basketball players. I want to see guys, 6'3" and over, up to 7 feet tall. Like Jeremiah Tillman Jr. coming out of the hack would be a sight to see, Taylor. I think this is a project for us.
That'll be
sounds great until one of them slip and cracks their head open and then they're out for the season or something. But until then, that it'd be great, I'm sure. Yeah.
That's amazing. All right, I'll finish off with my last question. If you had a chance to play any other sport professionally, what do you think it would be? And you don't have to actually have the skill. Like you could say, you could pick your skill set. You can go into the Sports Dream retail store, pick all of your, attributes that you need to play this sport and be great at it. What would it be?
It would be soccer for sure, or football for sure.
Yeah.
I played, that was my first sport. And my dad actually played that too. So that sport, I love that sport. If I wasn't playing basketball, I'd definitely be playing that. I was a goalie, so I wasn't that skilled or anything like that. I was just tall, and they said just go.
And the hops probably helped too, right? Because you got to cover a lot of ground.
Yeah.
Did you get to any football games out in Portugal?
I actually did. Yeah, I went to a Sporting versus Benfica. It's like a big rivalry over there. They absolutely hate each other. So that was a fun sighting for sure. The fans are crazy over there about football. It's like a religion. So.
Yeah, I bet. That's really cool, man. I'm glad you got to experience that.
It doesn't matter what country I travel to, if they have a pro soccer league, that's one of the first things that I look up and try to find a game to go to, because soccer is just, in other countries at least, it's just the atmosphere is electric and it's the coolest thing ever. So no, good for you, man. That's awesome.
Appreciate that.
But to close us out, Nathan, speaking of other sports, who would be on your sports Mount Rushmore? So who do you think are the 4 most iconic athletes? Or maybe it could be even just 4 athletes that are, maybe I'll pivot to this, 4 athletes that maybe have meant the most to you in your life, whether just as a fan or just being motivated by them or whatever it may be. Who would be on your sports Mount Rushmore?
Okay, so definitely Kobe Bryant. Muhammad Ali.
Nice.
Second.
Like that one. Yeah.
Michael Jordan. And then last but not least, you know what? Wayne Gretzky.
Whoa, okay.
Hey, the great one.
Yeah, just what he meant to Canadian sports, and how he put Canada on a map. Wayne Gretzky, he's iconic to me.
And really a whole sport, right? Because hockey was not popular in the southern U.S. and then he goes to L.A. and pops off. So that, it makes total sense. I was I was wondering where you're going to go with the last one, Wayne Gretzky though. That's a good one. Good stuff, Nate.
I was hoping you were going to say a curler, but Wayne Gretzky. Yeah.
I was going to throw out Jennifer Jones. I was going to say Jennifer Jones. Let's go curling. But no, Wayne Gretzky is. You're right, man. For what he did for hockey, Canadian sports, and man, that was not a lot of athletes had a career that guy had. Even when you look at the MJs and the LeBrons and all the different sports. I mean. That record book is full of Wayne Gretzky stuff and will be for a very long time. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure.
All right. Well, that wraps up Target Time. Nate, thank you so much for making the time for us here. This week we wanted to have you on since last year, so I'm glad we were able to get you on early this season. Congratulations on everything so far. And I know job's just getting started here with the Winnipeg Sea Bears, but good luck the rest of the season, and we're looking forward to watching you.
I appreciate you guys, man. I appreciate you guys having me, and we'll definitely see each other soon, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
That was Sea Bears Nate Bilamu, just an absolute stellar human being. Great story. We focus so much on what he did last year, and I don't think people fully recognize, what he went through with the passing of his father, and how he was able to ride those highs and lows of last year. Just an impressive individual who's deserves the success he gets, but he really does work for it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, this is a guy who the CABL was built for. I mean, we talked about it in the interview. I mean, he finished his U Sports career, didn't really have any pro interest, right? And again, he makes the Sea Bears team, and then from there, look at him go. He gets the contract to play overseas in Portugal, and I'm sure he's going to end up playing, several years overseas and make a few bucks and get to experience all these incredible things. And that probably doesn't happen if there wasn't a Canadian Summer League like there is. So yeah, I
Fair
mean,
point.
that's just a great, feather in the cap of the league, and just a reminder as to what this league is actually for. Of course, it's awesome seeing guys like Teddy Allen and these other import guys come up here, and they're fun to watch and stuff. But at the end of the day, though, like, this league is for guys like Nate Bilamu.
100%. And I think he's going to be the bit of the poster boy of what the CBL can do. And this is a guy who wasn't even signed. So for all those listening to this podcast that, are going to university or in university, and, you're really hoping you get that signing day, these training camps can open up opportunities you may never realize. You're not realize what they can pan out to be. Nate Bilamu is a guy that you should, bookmark his story, because it's a guy that found an opportunity that didn't seem like much, and now he's a full-time pro basketball player, an impact player, living his dream right now. So yeah, it was great to have him on. We'll have another episode next week on Wednesdays as they drop. They aren't going to drop on Wednesday. You'll see it on Instagram. So make sure that you're posted to our Instagram account at Target Score Pod. This one dropped on a Thursday. That'll be rare. Wednesdays are when we are dropping them. So make sure that you're following. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure that you don't miss an episode. Give it a like. Give it a comment. Give it a review. We love interacting with you. I love the direct messages. You can keep those coming too. I try to get into as many as I can. And I'm sorry if I don't get to everybody, but I do really appreciate everybody's passion. And if you have anything you want us to cover on the show, please let us know. You can follow me at Joey Slattery TV. You can follow Taylor at Taylor Allen 31. Taylor, this has been A Slice. We'll do it all over again next week. Have a good one in the meantime, buddy. Enjoy that Sass game.